34-13 is the final, and Michigan is your national champion. I'm going to get the floor to Mr. Sam Webb. I know he's so proud of these boys.
What just happened?
I don't know what happened.
What just happened? Oh, yes. All right. There we go. Now we're back. Yeah, they took us off.
All right, let me start. I'm starting over. 34-13 is your final. Michigan is your national champion.
You sound like me. You sound like me right now. This was a long time coming. Everything that they said all year long, from the COVID violations to the ridiculous sign gate, the garbage that they put out, that people bought hook, line, and sinker to try to denigrate, disparage, and downgrade Michigan at every turn. And what did they do? They overcame every obstacle. Everything that they had to say was rendered moot tonight. Everything that they tried to do to hinder Michigan, even up to and including taking the coach off the field, was rendered moot. Think about what they said about what was going to happen to Michigan when they went to Penn State. And then they went and dealt with Penn State. What did they say was going to happen when Michigan played Ohio State? And they dealt with Ohio State. Iowa, hey, we knew what was going to happen there. But Bama, oh my God, there's no way they're going to be able to deal with the mighty Nick Saban and the defense that they had, the pass rushing, Jalen Milroe. And they went and dealt with Alabama. And then tonight, the coup de grace, the creme de la creme, they went and broke a foot off in Washington. And I said before the game, two things that we talked about. We talked about defense and physicality on a level that this team hadn't seen. I give all the respect in the world to Kalen DeBoer and the Washington Huskies. They're an outstanding team, a well-coached unit, an outstanding offense, but they had not seen physicality like this, right? You think you've seen physical, and then you play Michigan and you realize all that other stuff was fake, right? And then running the football, complementary football. This is a phrase that should be learned across college sport. All you teams coming from the Pac-12, Washington and USC and UCLA, learn the phrase complementary football. It's important. You need to practice it. Learn it. Learn it. Commit it to memory. What you saw tonight was a text. Complementary football. You Google it, Michigan comes up, because that's what you saw tonight. A defense that did a great job of disrupting rhythm for a quarterback that was in rhythm all season long. Hey, and I got to get my dog just real quick, because I'm so proud of this dude. I'm so proud of this dude. See, we don't have to keep the pleasantries anymore. We don't have to keep the pleasantries anymore. I'm so proud of this dude for everything he overcame this season.
Want to give a shout out to West?
Come on, man. Come on, man.
I'll give a shout out. Shout out to West Bloomfield.
Come on.
Shout out to the University of Michigan and Ann Arbor. We did it, man. Beautiful, man. We did it.
Come on, man.
Congrats, Donald.
Listen, so you gotta understand. You gotta understand his journey. So this is kind of a microcosm of the season. He goes into the offseason with a lot of expectations. You know, we've known Donovan for a long time.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to him in the summer. He said, man, I'm going to ball out. I'm going to the league. It's done, right? And then Blake came back. And for a minute there, he admitted, man, he was frustrated. Like, man, what are you doing? My plan was to do X, and you throwing a wrench in it. Now I got to do Y.
Yeah, I talked to Donovan asking that question, and a lot of you saw my tweets about his frustration. Openly, it's saying that, yes, it's been frustrating, not meeting the expectations that we're accustomed to him doing, the big games, the big runs. I think it was sort of poetic that what happens on the first carry tonight, his first two carries tonight, is that he takes him to the house That's the Don that we know, that we've shown mature into the young man that he is today, and to the star capability that we've always known that he's had, to see in culmination from what he's sort of the struggles he's gone through the season, to do it on the biggest stage when Michigan needed most. It was poetic, because
listen, you know, he's immensely talented.
Yeah.
Immensely talented. One of the most explosive. Everything you see Jahmyr Gibbs do, Donovan can do, right? Physically.
Yeah.
It was a mental journey for him. And so you go through the course of the season, and how does that frustration, how do you keep that frustration from affecting you and from affecting your team? First thing you got to do, and I talked to him about this, first thing you got to do is not make it be about you. Now, there are things that you can make about you, but when you're talking to your coach, it's about how you develop, what you got to work on and things like that, and what you need to do to be successful, but it can't be a problem for the team. And he did that. Like all the things that people were saying about Donovan all season long, he never was a problem for the team.
Right.
Never made it be about him. Never was like, I'm not going to do that. I mean, the most you maybe saw was when, you know, yes, sir. Yeah, and that guy right there, see this man right here, he made the decision. I'm just saying. So we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to that in a minute. We got a lot to cover in this session. All right. He never made it about him, talking about Donovan. But when you have a goal that is contingent upon your individual success, it's hard not to have that affect you when you're trying to work towards that collective goal. It's hard not to have that affect your mood.
Right.
Maybe not how you're acting around you, but your mood. So he said he even went to see a therapist. He talked to you about that, right?
Yeah. So went to go see a therapist. Obviously, the season didn't work out the way he expected, but he's still a team guy first and foremost, and he made that very clear. But he is open about, having to deal with, you're talking about a guy that's always used to having success, and this is the first time in his life he hasn't had it.
Well, and he said, look, there's a line where, a goal can become pressure. Now, some of that is good. You wanna feel, pushed and prodded to go the extra mile. But when pressure starts to hold you back, when it starts to tether you, now you got to figure out how to relieve some of that pressure. And that's what going to talk to a therapist is about. That's what obviously his faith is a big part of that as well. He's very open in talking about that. How do I get some of this stress off of me? And he said, listen, now that I've been through it, I feel like it was necessary for me to get to this point where at the end of the season, after all of those weeks, where people like, what happened to Donovan? You were listening to some media members talking about he was overrated and all this other stuff.
I laughed at him.
Right, all this other stuff. Can push all of that to the side and be ready to, on the biggest stage, come out and be that dude that we know he is. Tight zone. So he run a tight zone to the tight end side. He bounces it outside. And then the play that he was talking about the play du jour, he takes a duo. He's reading the Mike backer. He bounces it, and it's off to the races, man. He's a guy that is that proverbial home run hitter. Loves a cutback. That vision, sometimes it takes him a few carries to get a rhythm. But, man, they let him see daylight early in the game, and it was canceled Christmas after that. And that set the tone for the rest of the game. Complimentary football, Josh. We're going to get to talking about the defense. They had to run the football.
Sam, I want to talk about the game now. We've been talking about Donald all along.
Well, he was about the game.
No, but we got to talk about that first quarter, and we got to talk about that first half and what transpired in this game. We got to break it down, okay?
Yes.
So we got to talk about Michigan gets the ball first, and like you said with Donovan, we talked about it. They chunked it, and then Donovan hit him with the 41-yard touchdown, and Michigan was just churning in this game. The rushing attack was unstoppable. They just go out and they do it again. Donovan scores again. What did you break down that first half and what you saw out of that Michigan offense?
I saw them show a commitment to running the football. See, Steve Sarkisian, Texas was running the football on him, but he runs the football too much without passing. He starts itching. He just can't. He break out in hives because he's just running the football too much. Michigan don't mind itching a little bit.
Yeah.
They keep itching because they know at the end of the day, it's going to lead to something. It's going to lead to wearing the opposition down and protecting the defense. See, they were talking in the pregame about, hey, you know, Michigan's defense is only used to playing 56 or 60 plays or whatever it was, and they're going to have to play a lot more plays tonight. Says who? You're assuming that Michigan is not going to be able to run the football. Because if Michigan runs the football, that's why Michigan plays so few defensive snaps. It goes hand in hand. That's how you protect the defense. That's how you keep it fresh, right? And so they set a really physical tone early in the game along the line of scrimmage where they knew, Washington, they were going to have to, you got to walk a safety down and start. You're going to have to sell out.
Exactly.
To stop this run. And they made a meaningful adjustment. They went cover 1, cover 3. They like, hey man, we gotta have a dude walk down so we can have an extra man to deal with this run game. And we're gonna rely on our corners to win. And I give their corners credit. They did a good job.
For about a half.
Yeah, they did a good job against Michigan's corner. That was a meaningful adjustment. And Michigan wasn't quite able to put them away. That 4th down call, you know, where it's 17-3, and they're on the 39-yard line, and it's, you know, they call a split zone. It was 3rd and 7. It was 3rd and 7, I think it was, and they call a split zone. Right now, when you make that call, when it happened live, I'm thinking that's a call you make when you're gonna go for it on 4th down, right? If you're close enough. Now they picked up 4 yards on the play. Now I'm thinking, okay, that's not close enough. And clearly they thought so for a split second too, because they sent the punt team out. Then they called timeout. And Jim probably said, no, that's close enough. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Because he's probably sensing we could put our foot on the throat of Washington, put them away right now.
Yeah.
But they didn't get it. Because those corners were doing a good job on Michigan's receivers. So they get the ball, they get life, they go down, they score a touchdown. Now it's a game again. And the pressure pendulum swings back to the defense, and the defense is up to the task, Josh.
Let's talk about that defense. Obviously, they gave Penix they just took away all his big playability. They made Penix sort of check down, throw across the middle. They gave up only one play over 20 yards. I think coming into this game, I heard this stat, 89 pass plays or plays of over 20 yards this season. Michigan limited them to 1.
Yeah.
That's an incredible stat, in my opinion. Michigan still was able to pressure Penix. They didn't get as many sacks as we saw last week, but they made him uncomfortable.
They sure did.
And you also got to give credit. We heard all week. I mean, someone had the audacity to ask Klink that this is a better receiving core than most NFL rosters. I was like, you got to be kidding me. But the fact that they did that, limited Penix to 254 yards passing, you got to tip your hat. This is the best defense in the country. Well, they proved it today.
I think Jesse Minter is the best defensive coordinator in the country. He's elite. He is elite. When you look at how in different games, the narrative is different for the Michigan defense in different games. Sometimes it's about the overwhelming pressure like it was last week. He has a sixth sense, it seems, about how to attack pressures. But he can also vary coverage in a way that lends itself to pressure, right? So this is a team, first of all, they took the fade ball away. Fade ball wasn't really present. That's like their number 1 pass route. They took it away. So they went to the quick game, right? Now, they did a great job of moving him off his spot, brought some blitzes that made him flush a little bit, got a little heat in his face, hit him a couple times early in the game. The offense is scoring as well. He's feeling game pressure also. All these things go together, and then you see him miss a wide open guy that was a bust.
He didn't do that all year.
He didn't do that all year. Michigan had a coverage check. So they go cloud. So he comes up, and he is basically, he's jamming the receiver, and then his safety is supposed to get over the top in the half field.
Yeah.
Safety didn't get the check. Safety is
lucky.
Safety's playing cover 3. He's rushing to the deep middle.
Yeah.
Receiver's wide open down the field, people. And Penix missed him. He missed him. Wide open. This is a game-changing play if he hits it, right? But they affected him. They affected him early in the game. You know, you talk to different. This one thing Van said, I want to hit the quarterback early, or I want to disrupt him early because it's going to affect him late. Now, he wound up getting a little bit of a rhythm with the quick game, but you still saw some inaccurate throws in there, uncharacteristic of Michael Penix. Is what we have talked about with him all year long, was elite ball placement. but they never hit him. What did Mike Tyson say? Everybody got a plan until they get hit in the mouth?
Yeah.
He never got hit in the mouth until tonight. And they hit him in the mouth a few times. And it affected him the rest of the game. Now, Jesse Minter and the way that he varies coverages, I mean, the open field tackling, you got to have faith in your players to put them out on the kind of islands that he did. You see that tackle Will Johnson made? Yeah. If he doesn't tackle number 11, when he's on an island out there, it's a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's a touchdown. You had a great open field tackle by Junior Colson late in the game. Mikey Sainristel. Yeah. Mikey Sainristel is an all-time great.
So I actually wanted to talk about some of the key plays there in the fourth quarter. I think two that really stick out to me. The first one was when it's a one-score game in the fourth. Michigan's offense really hadn't done anything in like 5 drives. But then they came out, and then JJ finds Colson Loveland for that 44-yard gain right across down the middle of the field. And then a few plays later, Blake punches it in from 12 yards out. That's when you start to feel, okay, this is a possibility. Right. Michigan's gonna do this thing, and it's a 7 minutes left. And then the ensuing drive, Mikey gets the interception and takes it almost to the house.
Yeah, man.
I mean, the wave of emotions when you saw that Michigan is looking like they're gonna win the national championship.
Yeah, listen, you felt like they kept letting them hang around.
Absolutely.
Michigan dominated this game.
I feel like they could have won 50 to
13.
Yeah,
I mean, they dominated this game, but they kept letting them get up off the mat, and you felt like it was giving them that life. That is a good team over there, that they were going to capitalize on it and make this more of a nail biter than it wound up being. But the defense was too up to the task. Mikey Sainristel is an all-time great at Michigan. When you consider he was a receiver and a pretty good one, to go over to DB, and I mentioned this already, but I got to shout Klink out again. They went in the camp before last season. He's like, man, we aren't going to have a drop-off. And Nick, like, man, you smoking.
Yeah, lose Dax Hill, and then you get...
I guess I clearly that's why he's coaching and I'm not, right? And I had to give him his due. Mikey Sainristel is one of the best DBs to ever play at Michigan. And if you're looking for a nickel in the NFL, he's smart, he's physical, he can cover slots, you can split him out, he can be an outside corner.
Yeah. He's going to be a day 2 pick, I believe.
He has to. He's not a guy playing DB because he can't catch. Because everything that touches his hands, he picks off. Think about that. Think about all the.
He makes plays with it afterwards too. He almost takes it to the house of field. He scored a couple touchdowns this year.
Yeah, so he'll go down as an all-time great, and then he's handing the baton to another dude who just seems like he's always around the ball, Mr. Will Johnson. Man, you talk about all the dudes we watch grow up. Like, we watched Will grow up since he was in the 8th grade, man. Yeah. And then you watch him out here. Think about every game he's making a big play. That's what makes Mikey so special. It's like every time you turn around, like, damn, he made another big play. And now you're saying the same thing about Will. Talk to him. Now we can talk about it before the game. I said, Will, Marvin Harrison, Roman Dukes. He said, man, I mean, he's good. He's really good. So I feel, man, once you go out and you do your thing against Marvin, I'm like, I can do it against anybody.
Talking to him on Saturday, he said Marvin Harrison was the best player.
He did.
He'd already basically made it known. He thought not saying he didn't think.
He said he was good,
but Marvin's the best.
He said he's the best. He said Marvin Harrison is the best
receiver you know what?
In the country.
I'm not gonna lie. We watched him today. Marvin Harrison is the best player.
He is. But his point was, I've watched the film. Yeah. I respect him. This is an NFL receiver. He's a first-round draft pick.
But so is Will.
I've covered the best.
So is Will.
I've covered the best already. And the best made some plays. But you know what else? I made some plays. That's what he didn't say it like that. He didn't put that spice on it. He said he made, you know how Will is. He made some plays. I made some plays. Yeah, right? Yeah. Now, he made some plays. I made some plays. Right? That's how I took it when he said it, right? Like, come on, man. I'm not gonna walk out here and think this dude, just because he putting up all these big plays against all these other guys, that he gonna do it against me? No, like I told you, when I faced Marvin, he puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like me. He sit on the toilet, just like me.
Yeah.
Like, this is not God out here that I'm covering. I'm sorry. I'm calming down.
I got another question that's gonna fire you up.
I'm proud of the young.
I'm trying to give the people what they want. Okay.
All right.
So let me ask you this question. We've heard a lot, all the stuff, I want to say another word, but all the stuff this team went through and accomplished the first 15-0 season in Michigan football history. What is the legacy of this Michigan football?
Yeah, so you got to start talking about first Blake Corum, because Blake chose Michigan over Ohio State at a time where that wasn't the thing to do.
Mhm.
And he said, you know, I could go be a part of something that's already established, or I could go establish it. And he came and established it. The man hasn't lost to Ohio State. The man could have gone to the NFL, came back, and won a national championship because he had that goal. Legacy was a big thing for him, and he saved his best. Because I felt like he was good all season. I thought he was great here in these last two games.
Oh, he's been healthy.
He was great against Alabama. He was great tonight. It felt like the pre-injury Blake.
Absolutely.
And maybe
100%.
maybe it takes some months of actual football, not just rehab, actual football action to kind of get that back. But the jump cuts, the quick twitch, right? All that was back these last two games. And he took a duo too. The big play for Donovan was a duo. The big play for Blake was a duo, 59 yards out the gate, right? So Blake, when you think about legacy, and they asked me this, Harry Douglas asked me this on ESPN, or maybe it was Christine. One of them asked me on ESPN pregame, is he the best running back of all time? You know, I had to shout my guy Tyrone Wheatley out. I said, Tyrone Wheatley is the most talented Michigan back I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, he was Bo Jackson in his day. But Wheat would even say this. Legacy-wise,
Blake Corum.
this man got something I don't have. This man has something I don't have.
He's got a lot.
I mean, Wheat came back for his senior year too, but this man came back, had to go through the season without his head coach for 6 games. His quarterback was basically on one leg for the last 3 games. They're saying that you've been cheating all season when basically the cheating they accused you of, they said you were using it against bums, relatively speaking. Like, come on, man. I used the analogy before. I'm like, man, Michael Jordan didn't have to spy on Michael Curry. I mean, it's like, come on, dude. This is ridiculous that we even talking about this. They asked me that on the post game. What would you say to anybody who is talking about this being tainted? I say, man, okay, I can't say what I want to say, but I would say that you're talking about someone with an agenda who don't know jack about football. It's one of the two. One of the two. There's no in between. Because after all of that, Michigan went and bum rushed the nation from every corner of the country. They went to Maryland. They took out Ohio State and Penn State. They took down Alabama from the South. Now you want the Midlands? Y'all want some too? We give it to Iowa. Now you want to come from out west? We got y'all too. North, south, east, west. We got ass whippers all over the country. Is basically what they said. Okay. So my point is, Josh.
I know you get. Hey, you're all. Hey.
My point is, every challenge they put in front of Michigan, they overcame it. You took the coach. You said they cheated. You took the best from every corner of the country and put them in front of them without their sign stealer guy. And then all they did was get better every time. They got better from Maryland and Penn State to Ohio State. They got better from Ohio State to Iowa. They got better from Iowa to Alabama. And they got better from Alabama tonight. They just kept improving. I don't know what else they got to prove. They don't have to prove anything else. They proved it already.
That was a lot, Sam. Anyways, he's excited, folks. All right, last topic. Jim?
Oh, no. We can't skip over J.J. McCarthy. We can't spit. Because you're talking about...
All right, let me preface it then, all right? Obviously, J.J. McCarthy, he's got a legacy now. 27-1 now as a starter at the University of Michigan. A national champion, 15-0 this past season. Newly crowned. I mean, just talk about what JJ has meant to this program and what and what he sort of he's sort of the straw, like the straw that stirs the drink, I like to say.
Yeah.
And what he's meant to this team and its legacy.
You know, I've never seen a team this close. All the years I've been doing this, I've never seen a team as close as this one. And there've been a lot of great leaders, man. lot of great leaders that I've seen come through Michigan. I don't want to downplay any of them. But this dude is the best when you consider that the guy is now 65-3 as a starter. Think about that. I first came to know about J.J. McCarthy as a sophomore in high school when he took over a team full of veterans. Like, these are veteran guys who had won. Here, you, this hot shot sophomore, you come in there and it's all about you. And you got to lead these dudes, right? They already questioning you because you the hot shot new kid. But, hey, man, we won already. How do you get those dudes to buy into your leadership? He has the innate ability to lead by following at the same time. When it's older guys, you gotta empower older guys to be older, to use their experience and their maturity to impart wisdom upon you and everyone else. And then when it's your time to lead them, you better deliver. You better be accountable. He was all those things as a sophomore in high school, leading them to the promised land. One high school game he lost. One high school game.
One college game.
One college game, Josh. Or yeah, one college game. Two college games. Because he
as a starter.
As a starter. Okay.
I'm not counting
the
Michigan State and Georgia game from 2 years ago.
Yeah. So listen, man.
All he knows is winning, though.
All he knows is winning. And when you consider when he committed to Michigan in 2020, there was all kind of uncertainty. Jim Harbaugh, there were a lot of questions. There are a lot of people, a lot of fans who watching this right now, who wanted Jim out. I was going back listening to some of the shows, wanted Jim out. There were some former Michigan players who wanted Jim out. There were some in leadership who wanted Jim out. If it were not for Ward Manuel saying, I'm going to keep him, tuning all that out, he tuned it all out. Like, if I'm him, you know me. Y'all better be glad he's not like me, because I'd be telling everybody to kiss my ass right about now if it was me. Because it was his decision to say, you know what? Because Jim said, bet on me. And Ward said, I'm going to bet on you. Because if Jim wasn't successful, it wouldn't have just been Jim out. Ward would have been out too. But he said, okay, now I'm going to ride with you. I'm going to ride with you. You're going to get this done. Now, you got to put your staff together. They got to have a remade staff and get this all going, but it's going to happen. But as you do that, now Jim got to make sure all these guys stay. J.J. McCarthy was instrumental in that, because J.J., I'll never forget it. He came on that player-led visit weekend. He was leading the visit, him and his parents. They did a great job. Some of the best football parents you'll ever meet. Jim McCarthy, Megan McCarthy. You won't meet better people ever, right? They took it upon themselves to lead. They took it upon themselves to say, come on, let's get together. Let's form these relationships. You don't have to come. We get it if you want to look around, but we're going to be here. And that's what J.J. McCarthy said that day. He said, I don't know what everybody else is going to do.
I remember it.
I don't know what everybody else is going to do, but I'm going to come to Michigan. And if you come with me, you're going to win a championship. Yeah, I'm not saying you won't win anyplace else, but you come with me, we're winning. I'm going to Michigan and we're going to win. We're going to turn this around. At a time where Michigan was, the weekend he was here, Michigan got destroyed by Wisconsin, got curb stomped. He said, I'm coming. Anyway, Rod Moore, same thing. Think about all the dudes that were there that weekend and said, I'm still coming. Donovan committed to Michigan after that, months after that. That doesn't happen if J.J. McCarthy is not in the class, right? Will Johnson is about to commit to Ohio State. I'm telling you what I know. He was on his way to Ohio State. Jim found out about it somehow, some way, right? Found out about it. He got on the phone with Will Johnson. Don't do anything. I'm going to be here, and we're going to turn this around. But that doesn't happen if J.J. McCarthy doesn't come here. So when you talk about a guy manifesting his destiny, leading in a way where he got something to lose. Like, he wasn't committing to a winner. He had to come and turn it around.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's the stuff. That's some legendary stuff, man. I mean, I know people, they keep talking about him like he's this regular dude. Like he's this, I was doing an interview and they was like, he's more of a game manager. Like, nah, man, y'all don't know what a game, well, if you're using it as a pejorative, you don't know what a game, you're not talking about J.J. McCarthy. Because the leadership that he's shown at the University of Michigan is, I can't think of any better example of leadership than what we saw from him this season. From the head coach being out to him playing through injury at the end of the season when he could barely walk, to when his offensive coordinator is calling a game where he's taking the ball out of his hands.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that's Caleb Williams? The head coach is not here, and the offensive coordinator, the chips are down. The offensive coordinator said, "No, man, we just gonna hand the ball off the rest of the way." Man, how many quarterbacks big time quarterbacks gonna be like, "Okay, coach."
I don't know.
That's J.J. McCarthy.
Could have done that in one.
That's J.J. McCarthy. I told y'all also that Maryland game, the man could barely walk. He's in the halftime locker room in tears. He gets himself together, gets back out on the field, they win the game, and he's back the next week against Ohio State, running the football, throwing the football, making plays to get Michigan another Big Ten championship. Man, you cannot emphasize enough the kind of guts, the kind of heart, the kind of leadership that number 9 showed is special, man. And Michigan is not here tonight. And 4 years ago, that man doesn't say, or that kid at that time doesn't say, I'm going to Michigan, regardless of what the rest of y'all do. But because he said, I'm going to Michigan, the rest of them came too.
All right. Lastly, the final topic. Jim Harbaugh. Obviously, his 9th year culminates with a national championship. From the highs and lows of where this program has come. 3 straight Big Ten championships, 3-0 against Ohio State, and then finally getting over the hurdle this season and winning it all. What does this win mean for Jim Harbaugh? And then after that, we'll address his future.
He fulfilled a promise, man. He fulfilled a promise. I mean, there's so many storylines here. I mean, how many great players go on to be great coaches? Period. But great coaches at the place where they played.
It generally doesn't work out.
And then think about how he comes in, he has success right away. He's beating everybody but Ohio State, right? In circumstances, it worked against him in 2016. Wilton separates his shoulder against Iowa, and then in the game, the refs robbed him, right? But they were that close in 2016. People act like Ohio State was destroying them. They were that close, right? And then things flip, and they turn, and now you're on the precipice of disaster, of the end of your coaching career at Michigan. There are all kinds of questions. There are people that you never thought would turn on you. So Jim said, I want to know that the administration wants me. I want to know that my players want me. And I want to know that the fans want me. When he said, I want to know that the fans want me, I was like, man, is this Jim? Talking Jim, that don't sound like Jim giving a damn what the fans say. But there was a message in that to me. It's like, man, I remember how it was when the chips were down in 2020. It was a whole lot of people that I thought never would turn, that turned in the face of adversity. Now, does that mean that they didn't have a legitimate gripe? No, that doesn't mean that. They did have a legitimate gripe. Some things needed to change, right? But his point was that don't throw me out. And but for War Manual say, I'm not going to do that. A lot of fans, a lot of football alums, a lot of leaders kind of want that to happen. I'm not going to do that. We gonna turn this. I'm going to let you turn this thing around. He goes and remakes his staff, and the rest is history. And think about it, they're taking steps every year, right? He turns over the play calling to Josh Gaddis 1 year. He comes back, and then he goes and gets an NFL defensive coordinator. And then among all the other changes that he made. And then he comes back the next year, running with a couple coordinators, right? I was talking to Claude Johnson about this. He said, it kind of feel like you realize, let's go back to one coordinator because you got a up-and-coming guru in Sharon Moore. Let's put it back in his hands after in that championship, and we had to change linebacker coach. He said, But you made those were two meaningful changes. Putting the offense completely in Sharon's hands and hiring a linebacker coach that solidified your defense. And shout out to CP because CP is a part of this too. This is a guy who, for his career, I think has had a deft touch at hiring, but needed to adjust. And it's often when you're on a precipice that you have those epiphanies, right? It happened to John Beeline in 2010. John Beeline had won everywhere he went. He gets to 2010 and it's like, oh, shoot. Except he doesn't say shoot. I need to change my staff, right? And changes his entire staff. Jim, the same thing happened in 2020. He changes his entire staff and puts Michigan on a trajectory that ends in a national championship. Few people can remake themselves in the same job. Jim Harbaugh did that, and he did it in a legendary way.
All right. And lastly, Jim Harbaugh's future. Obviously, he's got a lot to think about. Everyone's saying he's going to go. You got some people saying he's going to NFL. Obviously, he's got just won a national championship at Michigan. Maybe he wants to run it back. What are your thoughts there? Obviously, this is going to be a running story for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can't make any promises at this point. I mean, I give it 50-50. 50-50 because I think if the NFL guys aren't convinced by now that this dude is an elite coach wherever he is, because see, that's the holdup. You talk to NFL guys the last couple of years, they were like, you're writing all this stuff. You ask me all these questions. The NFL doesn't want Jim Harbaugh like that. That's what they would keep telling me, right? So in Minnesota was the team. Last year, Denver was the team, but we're writing about 20 teams. And NFL guys would always say, it's not that many teams. It's not that many teams. And it's like, why? Why aren't there that many teams? You look at all these dudes that keep getting these jobs. Josh McDaniels is getting jobs, and the NFL has a problem with Jim Harbaugh. Give me a break, man. Like, stop it. This dude has won everywhere he's gone. He has turned it around. What else do you need to see? And now he's turned his alma mater around in a championship way. So I believe that whatever reluctance any of these franchises had about giving him the kind of control that he would want after dealing with Trent Baalke all these years, I got to believe there's a team or two that's willing to say, you know what? No, we can see, you know what the hell you're doing. We're going to get out the way. We know that's not how an owner generally does things. We're going to get the hell out the way and let you do your Jim Harbaugh thing. Now, money. So the whole 10 years, 125 million, I've been telling people, stop repeating that. Like it's fact, it's not. Michigan didn't make that offer, okay? So I'm telling you what I know. So stop reporting that NFL, repeating that NFL.com story. It's not true. Now, but somebody floated it. Certainly Michigan didn't float it. I think it's floated. This is my opinion. Now I'm speculating. I'm telling you, this is not, I don't know this. I'm just speculating that it was floated to set the bar. So this how you got to come. You come to Jim Harbaugh, you got to come correct. You better be talking to, because I could get 11 million, 12 million at Michigan, and I'm happy. And all my quirks, they love them here. My idiosyncrasies aren't idio in Ann Arbor. Like, they love them in Ann Arbor. Like, my family loves it here. You know, my whole family. My mom, my dad, my kids. We're good. We're Gucci in Ann Arbor. So you want us to leave, you better be coming with something a whole lot more. So $125 million or $12.5 million a year, better be starting there and then start talking about control of the team. And then, yeah, man, I think there's a real possibility because I think Jim has parallel dreams. He had dreams of winning a national championship. He's done that. But first dream was reestablishing his program to his former glory. He had done that already. Then winning a national championship. He's done that too. He also has a dream of winning a Super Bowl. And it's fine to have parallel dreams, man. And so if a team comes with a lucrative offer, giving him the kind of control that he wants to have, and maybe they have the foundation already laid for success, I could see him doing that, especially knowing that he has built the program in such a way that it'd be very easy under the right circumstances to carry on the culture that he's built. He's done everything that he promised to do and then some, and he's left it in the kind of shape where it can be carried on. If he decides to go, you thank the man. You praise him for the job that he's done, the best Michigan coach ever in any sport. And then you look to see, all right, now you got to look at Ward and say, okay, now you got to pick the right guy to carry this on.
That's a whole nother topic. We've touched a lot of topics. But one thing we know, last 3 years, Michigan's 40-3, and now they're the national champions at their 50-0 season. It's been a hell of a ride,
man.
Sam Webb.
Hey, you sound like you tired. I mean, we about to get off.
Tired.
Hey, you say, man.
I am tired.
Hey, man, Michigan just won a national championship. Michigan just won a national championship. Man, everybody should be fired up. Ain't nobody going to sleep tonight. All that stuff they talk, and some I'm not saying stuff, and man, everybody better be walking in the office, kicking down the door, telling them everybody kiss my ass, talking all that stuff they've been talking all these years. Everybody has some. Listen, me, when I get on the radio, everybody catching it. I'm gonna be like Cat Williams. Everybody who has something to say. Michigan State, Ohio State, y'all all getting it. Penn State, you getting it too. Everybody getting some all week. Everybody. So be sure to tune in. It's gonna be must listen to. I'm taking names. I'm giving it to all of them, just so you know. So be sure to tune in. We're gonna be having a hell of a time. Michigan is a national champion, baby. Be loud, be proud, celebrate, be happy. Tell everybody. You should wear a shirt to say, because you can't say kiss my ass all the time. Wear a shirt so it say it everywhere you walk. Everybody should know how you feel about how your team just did on this day, on this night, in this year. There is nobody better, and they can't dispute it. They can't dispute it. They can't say they can't do anything about it. You know how beautiful that is? You the best, and they can't shoot it down, no matter what they say or what they do. Come on, baby. Get fired up. Go Blue.